Hello students, so we shall continue with the chapter and we are in the fifth chapter, that is sensation, attention and perception. In the last class we dealt with sensation and we had gone through different the definition of sensation. So what is the definition of sensation? Sensation is defined as awareness, awareness of a situation, condition. Sensation is defined as awareness of condition inside and outside body. So this is enough for definition, and we also have gone through 5 sense organs. So that is eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. So and we have different senses. The senses are vision, hearing, taste, noise, smell. Smell and touch. So yes, so you know how important senses or sense organs are to us. It is called as gateway. Yes, sense organs are called as gateway of knowledge. And yes, we also started with the characteristics of sensation. The first one is threshold, that is absolute threshold. So what do you mean by threshold? So we also saw that definition, so I think you can see the underlined one. So the minimal amount of physical energy that is required to create a sensation, the minimal amount of energy you require to sense, to feel, that is called absolute threshold. And we saw many different examples, like for example, a candle flame can be seen from 30 miles away on a dark clear night. So if you on all the lights, if you on all the switches, and if you on all the bulbs and then light the candle, can you make a difference? No. It should be dark room, and if you light a small candle, you can see that light far away, 30 miles away from you, from the candle. So that is how energy, physical energy is required. The physical energy you require to feel that, to sense that is called absolute threshold. So we shall move on to the second characteristic. So the second characteristic is intensity. So underline this. The second characteristic is called as intensity. What is intensity? The sharpness, the sharpness or in-depth thing. For sensation to be effective, they must possess some amount of intensity. So yes, to feel, to be effective, for the sensation to be effective, it should have some amount of intensity, power, sharp. And a faint light or a mild odor may make no impression on us at all. Yes, a simple light, a bulb or a torch will not make a difference when you are in a brighter day, or a small amount of fragrance, or a small amount of scent or odor will not make a difference. But they should, however, be not over intense. We know from experience that when a sensation becomes too powerful, instead of stimulating us in the normal way, it becomes more painful. For example, a very bright light or a shrill sound can irritate us. Yes, the power, intensity refers to power. And the first, for sensation, so underline this first line, for sensation to be effective, for sensations to be effective, they must possess some amount of intensity. Yes, they should have some amount of intensity, power. So yes, to you have to see how bright the light is and how noisy the sound is. So that is the intensity, that is the power. So yes, if it is very bright, you close your eyes. For example, when you're going on a road or going on a street and you see opposite vehicle with a headlight, suddenly you feel like closing your eyes, because that is so bright that you are not able to see that. Okay, so that is the power, that is the intensity. And for example, if there is DJ or if there is some orchestra next to your house, okay, and they have raised the volume to the highest level and you cannot focus on anything else. Okay, so that is intensity, that is how powerful one light or noise can be. Okay, so the third one is latency. So we shall see what is latency. Third characteristics of sensation is latency. Though the appearance of stimulus and the experience of sensation appear to take place simultaneously, there is always a time lapse between the two. The stimulus arouses the nerve fibers that lead to the brain. The brain, on its part, takes time to respond through the motor nerves and the muscles. So underline this. Though the appearance of stimulus, appearance of a situation, appearance of an object, okay, or appearance of event, okay. For example, it might be a vehicle, it might be, so yes, all these things they appear, okay, though the appearance of stimulus and the experience of sensation appear to take place simultaneously. So as soon as there is a stimulus present, there will be a sensation, okay. So you see or you hear or you touch, feel, okay. So yes, if both stimulus and sensation occur simultaneously, but there is always a time lapse between two, okay. So to the sense organs, it will take time to send message to brain, okay. The sense organs will take time to send message to the brain, and brain in turn will take time to send a response, okay, according to the how you have to act, how you have to behave, okay. So yes, there is a time gap between stimulus and response, okay. And latency period is the passage of time that occurs between the presentation of stimulus and the action executed by individual. So underline this is very important. Latency period is a passage of time that occurs between the presentation of stimulus, okay. It is a passage time, the time it takes to respond, okay. The passage time that occurs between the presentation of stimulus, yes, the presentation of stimulus and the action executed by the individual, the how the person reacts to that stimulus, to that action, to that event, situation, okay. Yes, that is called as latency. Latency is a passage time between the presentation of stimulus and the action executed by the individual. So remember this. For example, when we are suffering from some pain, medicine is administered. Yes, okay. When you have fever, doctor gives you medicine, okay. For the pain to subside, it takes some time. Or when the teacher asks a question, the student who knows the answer takes a few seconds to respond, okay. So I think now you understood, okay. So there is a stimulus, and to respond to the stimulus you need a particular time, you need some time, that is called as latency, okay. So the fourth characteristics of sensation is duration. In some instances, the stimulus does not evoke a response immediately. It has to be repeatedly presented for a certain length of time. Duration determines as to how long a stimulus has to be present in the environment for stimulating the sense organ. Okay. So the fourth characteristic is duration, and duration determines as to how long a stimulus has to be present in the environment for stimulating the sense organ, okay. So duration is how long the stimulus should be present there, okay, to evoke your sense, to make active your sense organ to sense that stimulus, okay. So that is called duration, okay. So extensity, most sensation in general and cutaneous sensation in particular occupy certain amount of space. It is evident that A large stimulus occupy larger space and a small stimuli occupy lesser area. Extensity talks about space. How much space does the stimulus occupy? Yes, there are large stimulus which occupies larger space, and there are small stimulus which occupy smaller space. Okay, so this is the fifth characteristic. And yes, we should move to the next topic, that is attention. Okay, so attention, meaning of the many cognitive processes associated with the human mind, attention is one of the most intensely studied topic with psychology and cognitive neuroscience. In our daily life, we are attacked with a number of stimuli, but we are able to perceive only a few of them at a given time. So yes, in everyday life, in everyday course, okay, we have to come across different stimulus, okay, different kinds of stimulus, different kinds of actions, okay, but attention can be done, or attention can be paid to certain limited stimulus. Okay, it is not possible to respond simultaneously to all the sights, sounds and smells. Yes, okay, so it is very true that you cannot pay attention to all of them, you cannot hear all of them, you cannot smell all of them. When you pay attention to a particular thing, you can get what you want. Okay, so hence attention is cognitive process of selectively concentrating on one thing. So underline this. Attention is the cognitive process. Okay, attention is the cognitive process of selectively concentrating on the one thing while ignoring other things. Attention is a cognitive process, a mental process, okay, a inner process where you selectively concentrate on one thing. Okay, for example, you might concentrate on signals, you might concentrate on food, you might concentrate on a person, okay, or a behavior, so while ignoring other things. When you concentrate on one thing, you ignore other things. Okay. Attention is a readiness to perceive based on one's interest and motivations, as well as on the nature of the stimulus. Yes, you can underline this as well. Attention is the readiness to perceive based on one's interest. So you might like food, okay, so you concentrate on food. You might like games, you concentrate on games. Okay, so it basically focus on one's interest and motivates. Okay, and examples include listening carefully to what someone is saying while ignoring others' conversation in the room. So for example, when you want to know what a person is telling, okay, so if there is a group or a number of people in a room, and you want to know what that person is talking, okay, what that person is telling about me, or what that person is talking, so you listen, you pay attention to that particular person and you listen. Okay, that's what is called as attention. It is amazing to know that human beings respond selectively and find stability in a conforming world. Attention is a gateway to the rest of cognitive process. So for 1 mark, you can underline this. Attention is a gateway to the rest of the cognitive process. Okay. So the next definition. Okay. So you can just go through this, or we shall see how to go about it. So these are the definitions of attention. Okay, so Wilhelm Wundt was perhaps the first psychologist to study attention. So he was the first psychologist to study attention. Okay, so distinguishing between broad and restricted field of awareness, he was followed by William James, who emphasized active selection of stimuli. So there you select a stimuli to pay attention. In his own words, William James said, "Everyone knows what attention is. It is taking possession by the mind, clear, vivid form of one out of what seem several simultaneously possible objects or trains of thought. So yes, there will be many kinds of objects, many kinds of thoughts, many kinds of traits, but you focus on one single thought, one single object. That is called as attention. Okay, so yes, it implies withdrawal from some things in order to deal effectively with others. Ivan Pavlov noted the role of attention played in activating conditioned reflexes. John B. Watson sought to define attention not as an inner process but rather as a behavioral response to specific stimuli. Ross defined attention as the process of getting an object or thought clearly before the mind. So yes, you can underline William James. Okay, William James said, everyone knows what attention is. It is taking possession by the mind, clear vivid form of one out of what seem several simultaneously possible objects or traits of thought. So you can go through this definition. So we shall stop here and we shall continue in the next class.